Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch.
Logan puts it down. Cam Little kicks it up. The 68-yard field goal is good! He drilled it from 68 yards on the last play of the half. How good is that? It's a quarterback draw. Trevor to the 5, into the end zone, touchdown. Another terrific play call, a quarterback draw, and Trevor ran it into the end zone to give the Jaguars the lead. They run it with Tootin. He is
touchdown.
Into the end zone, touchdown. A 1-yard touchdown run by Bashal Tootin, and the Jags have retaken the lead here in Las Vegas. Logan Cook puts it down. Cam Little kicks it up, and the field goal is good, and we are tied. He drilled it. 23-all with 16 seconds to play. The third field goal of the game for Cam Little. Quarterback sneak. He was in. Touchdown! He dove over the top. He extended the football. Trevor has scored with 3:24 to go in overtime. Geno Smith drops. Looks. Pump fake. Knocked down! Devon Hamilton knocked it down. It's no good. The Jaguars win it. How good is that?
1010XL 92.5 FM presents Jaguars Today with your hosts Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark.
All right, good morning, everybody. Today we'll try to endeavor to answer that eternal question, Tony. How good is that, after all? I'd say very good when it results in a win for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So
this is obviously it's been the open for the week, right? With them getting the win against the Raiders. I got to say, I would love to know how responsible that NFL Films music is for the NFL becoming the NFL, right? Like, that music is so epic.
It's good.
It came along at that time. Like, it's anything you do, like, you hear that, it's like, oh, NFL, right? It's the first thing that pops in your head. And then you have all those the old film, like, running through your mind of all those highlight videos that we've all seen. I don't think it's directly responsible, but I'd love to know how much responsibility it has for it going boom.
Like, I think Dylan Denmark had no influence with that music, or am I wrong?
No, I just know, like, when I hear that, I think of, like, the Raiders a little bit, and I was like, I'm gonna just play this for this week instead of playing
it's
something
good,
like
right?
hip-hop.
Anything with that NFL Films music is good. I just think we grew up in a generation when those NFL film shows, like, you would watch, like, ESPN in the off season would run at like 11 o'clock or midnight. They'd run like back-to-back episodes of the previous year's recap show from two different teams. They were 30 minutes, and it would be like some team would be like 2-14. They'd be like, in the 1987 Jets, a season of beginnings, or whatever.
Yeah.
They'd always try to come up with some
always a
positive
story.
spin for that, how that's going to be a session of near misses or whatever. Building
Now
blocks.
it's called YouTube the next day.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I don't know if anybody, but our generation, certainly I was influenced by it. I loved it, and we used to run that all the time. We did the football show.
We did.
Back in the day, which is what somehow Jaguars Today kind of grew out of. So the Jags get Jakobi Meyers yesterday, and that went down live. At least the news broke while we were on the air. I did see one today from Bush Drive Rich. He said the Colts went all in on Sauce Gardner after we made the trade. That's telling me that they think it's a great move for us. Apparently, the Colts have been on this for about 2 weeks. Yeah. On the Sauce Gardner pursuit. I'd love to think that the Colts went, oh, crap, they've got Jakobi Meyers. We better go out and give our next couple of first-round picks up.
Somehow don't think the two things are related, but
here's the great thing. If Sauce Gardner, if it doesn't work out for the Colts, I mean, they're your next two first-rounders out the door as well. So I get it. Sauce Gardner's a proven commodity to play at a high level in the NFL. Jags did the similar thing with Travis Hunter.
They did.
For an unproven commodity.
They did.
This whole thing, it was funny watching people react to it yesterday, the Jakobi Meyers acquisition. Well, this must mean, A, or this must mean B, or this must mean C, when in reality, it's like a combination of all these different factors that are weighing it together. It doesn't. What this tells me is Travis Hunter's not coming back this year. I heard that from people. Yeah. What this tells me is Brian Thomas Jr. is fully available on the trade block, or X or Y, and on it went. And no, what it tells me is that yes, Hunter, we don't know what the timetable is, but he's hurt. Brian Thomas is hurt. De'Ami Brown's hurt. We've been looking for a reliable middle-of-the-field pair of hands all season, and Jakobi Meyers checks a lot of these boxes. Now, how excited you want to be about it is up to you. I will say this. People are much more excited than I suspected, Tony. And maybe it is, as I talked with Dan and Jeff a moment ago, just the Glame James Gladstone effect. I was just going to just throw a bunch of letters together and see what came out. But he does seem to have that whatever he touches, people are presuming it will turn to gold effect right now. And part of that is still the residual. He ain't bulky. And part of it is the aggressiveness. They've made, some roster churning moves. And part of it is, they're 5-3. So in conjunction with Liam Cohen and Tony Baselli, what they've done has worked for the most part.
Look, we know here on the show, we've been talking about what will they or won't they do at the trade deadline now for a couple of weeks, right? Since it became pretty clear that they look like they're going to be competitive. So what does it look like for them going into the trade deadline? Jakobi Meyers is the name that we started talking about 2 weeks ago, right? And people started bringing it up, and I didn't love it 2 weeks ago. It was one of those where it's like, I don't hate it, right? Like even 2 weeks ago, it was like, I don't hate it. But what has happened the last couple of weeks with the injuries that they suffered specifically this week, they obviously need help at wide receiver. So the formula has changed a little bit for what they need right now. Jakobi Meyers is the most sure-handed receiver now on the team based on what he's done so far this year. But, and this is one of these things where the dynasty stuff has helped me with this. I've been watching Jakobi his whole career because I've had him on a dynasty roster the whole time, right? Because he helped me as a special teams guy early on because I would get the points for that. But here the last couple of years, he's obviously been featured more as a receiver. Had the 1,000-yard season last year for the Raiders. This year, I cannot explain why he has been used as little as he's been used in the Raiders offense to this point this year. I don't know if it's a Geno Smith thing. Brock Bowers has been out. Why hadn't Jakobi been a bigger part of it? I do not know what the answer to that side of it is from the Raiders side. I know he requested the trade going through training camp. Now the trade has happened. I think he's a good player, but I don't expect him to show up in Jacksonville and be anything more than that. I think he's a good player. He gives them something they need, reliable hands, and a threat over the middle of the field, which is something that at this point, Brian Thomas Jr., even if he's healthy enough to play, is not going to offer. Right? Like, it's just not on offer from him at this point in his second season in the league. So to pivot to somebody like Jakobi, I'm all right with it. I do wonder the price on 4th and 6th round pick for a guy that you're going to rent for 9 games is pretty steep, but we'll see if they get a deal done beyond that. And even if they do, I'm like, okay.
I think the market was what it was, though, right?
Yeah.
And, there's a lot of talk. We saw multiple reports that they had made multiple calls to Green Bay about Romeo Doubs.
Yes.
And they're similar type players, right? They're not burners. They're possession guys, sure-handed.
Yeah.
Doubs is younger. And I think the Jags had a vision of him being an ongoing piece for a number of years here. And maybe Myers will re-sign here. We don't know.
We don't know.
But the price tag was reportedly more than the Jags were willing to pay to get Doubs off Green Bay, which would have been a strange trade for Green Bay to give up on him anyway, because he is a different kind. They have flashy potential outside guys in Matthew Golden and Christian Watson. Reed's been hurt most of the season, but he is like that bigger bodied, reliable kind of guy, and why would they give up on him? They can use him just as much. So the price was not going to be cheap. And then Tucker Kraft going down, they lose a weapon there. They were not probably, barring getting blown away, going to move him. And speaking of getting blown away, I mean, the idea, everybody thinks the run up to the trade deadline, we can get anybody for a third, right? Just offer him a third. I'll give a third for him. Quentin Williams, give him a third. I'll throw in a fifth as well. I mean, look, he went for a first and a second. You were never going to play. You didn't have the ammo to do that. Now, you could have, if you had been willing to do it, what the Dallas Cowboys did. They gave their second next year and a first the year after that. But that's when the good players are supposed to be. I mean, next year's draft, it ebbs and flows. And there will be good players in the draft next year, no question about it. But the overall depth of talent, people are already looking at, like, you hear all the major draft nicks. I have no idea who the number one pick is going to be. There's nobody separating themselves.
It's kind of 2 years in a row of that.
Right. So, but 27 is a different story. So, while FM picks is, I understand the mindset, not so much for 27, please. Right? And, the Jags still have 11 picks next year. So plenty more on Jakobi Meyers. If you want to get in on that front, you can give us your thoughts. One click on Twitter today. Your Chad and Sandy real estate question of the day asks you about your thoughts on the acquisition of Jakobi Meyers. Here are your options in the poll. A, great move, well done. Option B, best option, but just okay. Option C, doesn't really move the needle for me. Or option D, wasted draft picks. In other words, you hate the deal. And look, it's your prerogative to feel however you like. We got nearly 200 votes on that already, and it's been up there for about an hour. So you can hop on board at MD_1010XL. Don't forget at 1010XL Fat Tony and at 1010XL Denmark.
Ain't no laws when you're drinking claws, baby.
You can get in on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines today at 641-1010. Same number for the text line, designed by Lifetime Enclosures. Stream us on YouTube. We're still on YouTube, right? ESPN may not be.
That is correct.
We're there on YouTube. You can find us on Twitter, Facebook, and what else? We got John McClain coming up. He's only covered Houston football in the National Football League for nearly a half century.
Almost as long as that music's been around.
He might have written some of that music. He might have been like, man, I remember when this came out. This is pretty, I was snapping my fingers and stomping my feet. But John McClain will join us to preview the Texans, who not only now, Tony, their quarterback, Cammy Fairbairn, who is a really good kicker, is injured. He had 5 field goals this week against Denver, 5 out of 6. He did miss one, but former Jaguar Matthew Wright has been signed to the team. So they're ailing in some key point-producing spots this weekend. So we'll get into all that with John McClain coming up. And John Ogier will join us next hour as well. So there you go. We got a lot coming at you here on this Hump Day Wednesday. Let us know. Coming up in about 20 minutes, phone lines will be open. How you feel about the Jakobi Meyers acquisition by James Gladstone and Company. And we're off and rolling. With Tony Smith and Dylan Denmark, I'm Mike Dempsey. John McClain joins us on the other side on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars
Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL.
4th down and 11. Game on the line.
11 guys line up, but only one will end up the Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
And there he goes.
On 1010XL.
Your home deserves more than just another coat of paint. It deserves quality that lasts. At First Coast Paint, you'll find premium Benjamin Moore products, trusted advice, and the local experts who help you get it right the first time. Whether it's your living room, your porch, or your whole house, First Coast Paint brings your paint project to life. Stores in St. John's and St. Augustine. One name Jacksonville Trust. Mention 1010XL for 10% off. First Coast Paint. Simply superior paint.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday.
On Jaguars Today.
Awaken 180 Weight Loss.
Hey, it's Brent with Arcosa Crushed Concrete. If you've got concrete or asphalt rubble on your site, let me buy it from you, and I will recycle it into construction material for your future projects. Arcosa Crushed Concrete. Get paid for what you don't need.
Learn everything you need to know about the Jaguars on Duval Rundown. I'm Hayes Carlyon. Join me each Monday, Wednesday, and Friday morning at 9:04. You can find Duval Rundown on all the social channels of 1010XL.
Driven by Jacksonville Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Westside.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dan Hicken with a game changer. I've tested the field, and Checkmate Coatings is my new go-to for durable, jaw-dropping floor coatings. Better play, better results.
I'm Brendan from Checkmate Coatings. Our precision coatings make your floors the MVP of any space.
Slam dunk your floors at checkmatecoatings.com. Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
E.T. here, and if you've ever been injured in an accident, you have 14 days to see a doctor and protect your insurance benefits. You have the right to choose your own doctor, too. And I recommend McGowan Spinal Rehabilitation, the auto accident experts.
Did you know DuckDuck is the area's go-to plumber? A 5-star Google-rated company, DuckDuck can take care of all of your plumbing repairs and upgrades. Need to switch from septic over to city sewer? Call the Duck. How about water heater repairs and replacement? You're just a duck away, or call away, for DuckDuck Plumbing and Septic Services.
When you're stuck, call the Duck. 904-862-6769.
Have you ever dreamed of owning a handcrafted cabin tucked into a 1,000-acre regenerative farm? Well, now you can. This is Frank Frangie for the farm in Okefenokee, just an hour north of Jacksonville in Folkestone. With only 250 cabins at full build-out, it's a rare chance to live off-grid, but not alone, in a community grounded in nature, food, and purpose. The amenities include a 2,300-acre hunting lease. Learn more at okefarm.com. That's okefarm.com.
You've got a circle of friends, right? Well, how about a circle of beer? All your favorites like Bud Light, Bud Heavy, Mick Ultra, or Natty Light. It's all there in the cold case at Circle K. Probably one right around the corner right now calling your name. Slide on in to a Circle K.
Ticket here for Action Garage Door. Nothing more frustrating than your garage door misfiring. When it does, I call Action Garage Door. They take action. Jeff Menard and crew, Jacksonville folks, not some big out-of-town chain. Something goes wrong with your garage door, take action. Check them out. Garage Door 911, garagedoor911.com.
I'm Clayton Bromberg, the president of Underwoods. One of the biggest changes we've seen in fine jewelry over the last 25 years has been the growth of jewelry designers. At Underwoods, we're the leader, bringing to North Florida the best names in designer jewelry. In fact, we carry designer lines in a similar way to how clothing stores carry designer labels. The difference is that jewelry designers have to be a little more timeless in their presentations because nobody wants to buy a fine piece of jewelry only to find out the next year it's gone out of style. That's why you'll find at Underwoods the best of the jewelry designer names, those that are tried and true and popular. Names like David Yerman, Roberto Coin, John Hardy, Marco Bichigo, Jude Francis, Lagos, Hippolyta, and a lot more are all available right now at Underwoods. So if you want the best looks in designer jewelry, stop by Underwoods, San Marco, Avondale, or the shops of Ponte Vedra.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey, ham, melted cheddar, and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Daly's Dash today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Daly's is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. Now, another great guest on the Checkmate Coatings phone line.
Hello.
Your floor's missing piece. Now, more Jaguars today on 1010XL.
All right, Mike Dempsey and Tony Smith here with you, and the Jags have an opportunity this week to get a sweep for the season series over the Houston Texans, and the Texans beat up at some key spots. Not like the Jags aren't, but quarterback not among them, as we welcome in the great John McClain in his 49th year covering the National Football League in the city of Houston, and good enough to give us a few minutes this morning. John, good morning. How are you, sir?
I'm great, Mike and Tony. How are y'all?
We're fantastic, man. Appreciate your time as always. So, not that you have examined him yourself, but what's the scuttlebutt? What's the expectation? Is C.J. Stroud likely to miss a game, or is it too soon to know on that front?
Yeah, nobody has a clue. D'Amico Ryan said he's getting better Monday. That doesn't mean anything. 2 years ago, he had a concussion, and when his head hit on the turf at MetLife Stadium, and he missed two. I think he missed 2 games. I'll be surprised if he's able to play. His head hit really hard, and the surface here is a lot better than MetLife Stadium, but he went out immediately, and so Davis Mills replaced him. And Davis is a former starter, and they pay him good backup money, and he came in, and he was terrible, and they lost the game with no time left on a field goal to the Broncos. The Texans, all losses have been by 1 score. All victories have been by double digits. And their problem is they can't score unless they're playing a defense that's decimated by injuries like the Ravens and the 49ers. And when they go against a good defense that's healthy, like the Seahawks and the Broncos, their offense is helpless. And I'll give you guys a great stat. The Texans are last in red zone offense. I cannot remember when that was the case under new coordinator and play caller Nick Caley, doing it for the first time, came from the Rams. They are the only team in the NFL that has been to the 1 or 2 yard line and has not scored a touchdown, and they are over 10 from the 1 and the 2, and the play calling has been awful, and Nick Caley is the only person on this planet who thinks the Texans' offensive line can get a push at the goal line. The only push they get is when they get pushed back on their tush. They are the worst goal line running team. And, you know, you keep banging the ball up the middle and you take it out of Stroud's hands. That is bad coaching. And their defense has been really good and number 1 in yards, number 1 in points. But the special teams are good, but the offense has been against good teams awful.
The reverse tush push being employed by the Texans down close. John, just in beyond some of the numbers you cited, just the eyeball test, where is C.J. Stroud at this point in his career?
Well, he has been the victim the last 2 years of terrible – well, let me say, last year his pass protection was terrible. This year he hadn't been sacked more than 3 times, and they hadn't given up a lot of sacks, but he's been under a lot of pressure. But against those bad defenses, he's looked great, and he hadn't gotten hit as much as last year. He's running the ball more than he did because they can't run. They're good running between the 40s, but the closer they get to the goal line, the worse it is. What the Jaguars should do is let the Texans get to the 1 or 2 yard line every series, and they'd be guaranteed of giving up 3 points, and they can't score. I look back at the first game, and by the way, you know, this is Jaguars' chance to sweep the Texans for the first time since 17 when Tom Coughlin was there, and Deshaun Watson was a rookie. And that first game is so typical. It was 17-10. Texans had 3 turnovers. Jaguars interception at their 19, fumble at their 15, and interception at the end at the 4 when the Texans were trying to score. And they haven't had a lot of turnovers. That was the worst turnover performance they've had. But overall, this offense has been so disappointing. It's getting blasted, as you can imagine, locally here by the media and the fans. They fired Bobby Slowick, who was the darling of the NFL, interviewed for 5 jobs after his first season in 2023, and then he got fired last year because he didn't adjust to the adjustments. And Caley, who had been with the Patriots a long time and was with Sean McVay, people thought, okay, he's ready to call plays. Well, he's not.
John, I think it's a little bit unfair to call any game in early November a must-win game for anybody in the NFL, but it feels like Houston is kind of on the borderline of that, with the Jags having the chance to get the sweep where they stand in the division with where the Colts and Jaguars would be as far as their lead over the Texans coming out of this week if they were to lose this week. How crucial of a game is this for the Texans going into the back half of their season?
I said last week that if they had beaten the Broncos, and they were favored to beat the Broncos after beating the 49ers handily here, if they beat the Broncos, they could beat the Jags and beat the Titans, have a 3-game winning streak. Maybe the Colts lose a game or 2, and that's what happened Sunday against the Steelers when their offense was awful. But right now I'm looking at number 1 pick. And the problem is Nick Caserio has proven he cannot draft offensive linemen, and that's their biggest weakness still. You got a rookie left tackle in Ariante Ursery, and Hines Allen just abused him in that first game. And that was coaching. Like when the last interception, they didn't have help with him. And so he tipped the ball as Stroud was throwing his intercepted at the 4, and to me that's coaching. They had a second-round pick last year, Blake Fisher. He may have started right tackle because Titus Howard also has a concussion. A left guard, Juice Scruggs, he rotates with a left guard who shouldn't even be on the team, Laken Tomlinson. And then they had Kenyon Green, a number 1 pick, he's on somebody's practice squad, biggest bust in history. So I don't trust Caserio here to take an offensive lineman unless he's going to use every draft choice on an offensive lineman until they get their offensive line fixed to where they can protect Stroud but also run the ball consistently, especially when you get to the 1 or 2 yard line. And Nick Caley does know they have a sneak in their playbook, but he doesn't sneak it down there. He had 3 sneaks against the 49ers in 4th and 1 or 3rd and 1, and all of them worked. But I don't look at this as a must-win. I look at this as it's the Colts and the Jaguars and the Texans and the Titans, and it's not going to change.
Interesting. John McClain here with us, nearing a half century of covering the National Football League in the city of Houston. John, that defense is really good, however, and even with the loss of Stroud in game, almost managed to pull off the win against Denver last week. Jacksonville comes in here, Travis Hunter on IR, Brian Thomas with what they're calling a low-grade high ankle sprain, so we don't know about his potential availability. De'Ami Brown in the concussion protocol, and Jakobi Meyers just arrived, right? So, I mean, when you look at it from the Texans' perspective there, they're probably thinking the Jags are going to struggle to get to 10 points against that team.
I look at this one being just like the first one, low scoring. And Thomas had that 46-yard catch that set up ETN's 10-yard touchdown to win the game the first time. That got Chauncey Gardner-Johnson basically cut because that guy, I don't know why they ever signed him, but he had blown so many coverages and he blew that one. Was totally out of position, and he was gone shortly after that. And so the Texans would be happy if Thomas can't play, of course. He hurt him a lot worse than Hunter did. And their pass rush is good from the outside. They don't have a lot of sacks because they don't blitz. And their tackles have played the run well, but they have not gotten the quarterback, have not gotten the inside push and the penetration like they did the last 2 years. And so all the pressure is going to come from Will Anderson Jr. and Danielle Hunter on the outside. They had 1 sack between them. That was with Anderson against Denver. And Bo Nix hurt them on the last drive. Texans had chance on 2 drives this year. One here against Baker Mayfield, in which he went the distance, made a couple of big runs, and they beat the Texans by 1 point with 6 seconds left. And Bo Nix didn't run much till the 4th quarter when on the winning field goal drive, he had 2 big runs. So maybe Trevor Lawrence will have a couple of big runs to help the Jaguars win with another field goal.
Who has been the biggest disappointment in your eyes for the Texans so far this year?
Nick Caley, the offensive coordinator and play caller. I'm sure you want to know about a player, but to me, Caley is, and I think anybody here, if you ask them who is the biggest disappointment on this team, most people would immediately say Caley. We thought coming from Josh McDaniels and Sean McVay that he would be really good, and he's a great guy and everybody likes him, but some of his calls when we see it, and we're saying, don't give it to Nick Chubb up the middle on the goal line. Don't give it to Woody Marks. And he does it anyway, and they always get pushed back. So I would say Caley. If it came to a player, they have Nico Collins is their best receiver, of course. He had 104 yards in the first game against the Jags. Tight end Dalton Schultz has done well. They have not had another receiver step up. And when Collins missed the 49ers game, they had their best balance of the year and looked really good on offense. But I would say they got a new center named Jake Andrews. Came from the Patriots. He was undrafted. Didn't play with the Patriots. And Nick Caserio spent his whole career with the Patriots before he came here. He went to John Carroll College, which I never even heard of till he got here. And I said 2 weeks ago, the McNair family should order him. You can no longer have anybody from the Patriots, nobody from John Carroll College, and they can't even change planes in Boston or New England because those guys have been such a disappointment. D'Amico Ryans went to Alabama. Do they have Alabama coaches on their staff? No. They got John Carroll College. So Caserio's been a big disappointment, too, because he's after 2 years, he still can't get the offensive line right. But Jake Andrews, the center, he's gotten beat up a lot. So I would have to say, of the offensive linemen, it's been Jake Andrews. On defense, it was Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, and they got rid of him.
All right, well, it sounds like a lot to choose from there from John McClain. All right, John, as it stands today, and look, both teams are beat up in their own ways. What does your gut tell you about who comes out on top? And if you want to make a with C.J. Stroud and a without C.J. Stroud prediction, that's fair game.
How about this? With C.J. Stroud, I picked the Jaguars 20, the Texans 17. Without C.J. Stroud, I picked the Jaguars 20 and the Texans 17.
All right. There you go. Not going to move the needle a whole lot either way. John, you always move the needle, man. You are one of a kind. We appreciate you and many more years of service, however many you like, covering the National Football League there in the city of Houston. But congrats on the first 49. Thanks for your time, as always.
Mike and Tony, thank you guys very much, as always.
Thank you, buddy. There he goes, John McClain. So I guess he likes the Jags 20-17 right there. I mean,
seems so, yeah.
He is down on a lot of aspects of that team, but Tony, this team can ugly it up with that defense, which is very legitimate. But, man, they've got issues. Again, offensive line, all kinds of offensive issues. And this team, 17, like, if you get Davis Mills, you held him to 10 with Stroud. You need to hold him down below 17 points. The Jags can win an ugly game against Houston. It'd be great if the Jags put up 31 points. I'd be all for it. But you know what? I was content to go into Vegas and come out with a 16-10 win, and I thought we were on track for that, by the way.
It feels a whole lot more 9-6, 6 minutes left in the third quarter for this game coming up this week. It would be what I would guess is going to happen than anyone breaking 30.
All right, well, there you go. John McClain thinks Jags coming out on top regardless of who's at quarterback, which would be phenomenal. And as he said, he doesn't think the Texans are getting back in this race this year. He thinks it's it's a split division. Colts and the Jags at the top.
They're
going one direction,
the Titans,
and the Texans are closer to the Titans than they are to the other two teams. Does that mean the Texans can't win this game? Of course not.
No.
But gives me a little bit of extra boost of confidence right there. If you want to get in today, 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines. Let's talk about your reaction to Jakobi Meyers becoming a Jacksonville Jaguar. We'll hear his reaction coming up as well. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark here with you. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
You're at the home of the Jaguars in the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Superior products, exceptional service.
When you need a mechanic you can trust, call Sam, Harry, or Joe at AA Automotive on Richard Street. From oil changes to complex engine repairs, AA Automotive promises expert service and honest pricing from a local family biz. AA Automotive on Richard Street.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Want a fresh and flavorful tailgate this season? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad perfect for lunch, parties, and your tailgate. Order 3 ways at one of 4 area locations. Call 1-833-MY-CHICK or online at chickcatering.com.
Bring your marketing to the next level with 3D Digital, your local video production and digital marketing agency that specializes in ensuring your brand story is seen, heard, and remembered. Our award-winning team creates professional content that will be launched across multiple platforms to precisely target your audience. Call us at 904-712-4004 or visit 3ddigital.com to define, design, and deliver exceptional results for your business.
Hey sports fans, it's Hayes Carline here to let you know about my new obsession, Daisy French Onion Dip. If you love eating dips with chips, wings, and veggies while watching football, you'll love new Daisy French Onion Dip and Daisy Ranch Dip. These are game changers. They're as delicious as a homemade dip made with real herbs and spices and other ingredients you'd find in your own kitchen. You've got to try them. Once you do, you'll be hooked. Look for Daisy French Onion Dip at a grocery store near you.
Rick Ballou for Coy Dental. That's right, Carlson Dental is now Coy Dental.
Dr. Lee has been practicing there for 9 years, has purchased the company. The Coy Dental team still has the same great dentists and staff. And remember, if you get nervous visiting a dentist, don't. There's never a problem at Coy Dental with light sedation for cleaning and deep sedation for all your restorative needs. Coy Dental, located in Bartram Park.
Bueller, stay cooler with Bueller.
Jason, I called you about the ductwork in my attic this summer, and you totally blew me off.
I did.
My airflow is too low and my bills are too high.
I know.
There's stains on my ceiling tiles and sweating around the vents, and the mice have chewed so many holes in the ducts, I think they're getting more AC than I am.
I know.
Then how could you let me suffer all summer, Jason?
Because summer is the one time of year I just can't send my technician into someone's steaming hot attic. They'd kill me. Ductwork is hot, cramped work at the best of times. Lucky for you, those best of times are in November.
You mean like now?
Bueller Air and Plumbing can repair your old, damaged, or just plain sketchy ductwork right now when it's not too hot and not too cold.
And none of your technicians will kill you.
It's a win-win.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Hurricane season on the First Coast can leave you in the dark, so why not get a head start on storm season with a home generator system from American Electrical? They've sold and installed more generators in Jacksonville than any other company around, with scores of whole home generator installations throughout North Florida. That's right, American Electrical has been installing and repairing thousands of generators for over a decade in Duval. Keep your loved ones and property protected. Log on to american-electrical.com and see how they can help you.
Tuesday, November 11th is Veterans Day, and we'll be honoring those who have served our nation all day and night at String Sports Brewery in Jacks Beach with a free barbecue sandwich, side, and a beer. That's for all veterans and active duty military members anytime on Veterans Day. Plus, our show's going to be there live from 4 to 6. So thanks to our friends at the Fire Watch for putting this on. So come out and hang out with us and honor veterans. That's at Strings on Veterans Day, November 11th.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Jakobi Meyers here. Super excited to be here, man. I appreciate y'all taking me in. I'm excited to get to work. Duval.
Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All you got to do is emphasize the first syllable. You're fine, right? Doesn't have to be the loudest, the lengthiest, whatever. I've seen that video clip the Jags posted of Jakobi Meyers, Tony. I think he's sincere. Like, everyone says the book on him is he's a very just good veteran presence for your football team. Hardworking guy. Why don't we take this opportunity to use this for today's 10-10 take?
10-10 take.
Now, Mike Dempsey's 10-10 take. Brightened up by First Coast Paint. Simply superior paint.
Yeah, I think a lot of people have looked at this. What is Jakobi Meyers' reaction to this going to be in the sense that he is in a contract year and he would like to get paid, I'm sure, one more time, one more good go-round. I think he's making like $11 million a year on this contract that he's on, which is not big money. That's De'Ami Brown money now in the National Football League. So is he going to come here and be this massive target monster? I don't think so. I don't think you can acclimate him as quickly as you'd like when you've got all these other pieces that eventually will be coming back. Now, it may be him and Parker Washington, or he and Parker Washington as the top two guys this week. I mean, it's possible. Yeah. Now, what does that translate to? I don't know. But here's why Jakobi Meyers should be happy. He just jumped up 3 games in the standings, right? I mean, he's now in a situation where there's going to be more spotlight on him. Even if he doesn't put up big numbers here, he can be a cog on a successful winning team and show some value that way as well. And again, everything you hear about this guy from the people who cover the team is that Jakobi Meyers is a true pro, and he's going to fit in great in the locker room, be a great influence. I think that's important to the Jags, Tone, at this point as they try to build the culture of what this team is going to be going forward under Liam Cohen and James Gladstone and Tony Baselli. I don't know if he's going to be here any more than the remainder of the 2025 season, but I think the Jags would be open to that. But there are a lot of moving pieces there. What's the contract going to look like? How important is he? But Could you see potentially a Jaguar wide receiver core opening day in 2026 where basically De'Ami Brown's not here, Jakobi Meyers is in? You're looking at Brian Thomas as more of an outside the hash marks guy, stretching the field. Jakobi Meyers working the middle of the field. Travis Hunter playing all over the place. And Parker Washington in the mix as well, along with Brenton Strange, who can also handle a lot of that middle of the field. You know, I'm going to get smashed, but I'm going to bring this ball in no matter what. I think that's a decently balanced receiving core right there. So there's some potential there. But right now, look, if the Jags didn't have interest in Jakobi Meyers 2 weeks ago, they would have almost been forced to have interest in him just based on where they stand with all these injuries. Yeah. So it was a move that almost was necessitated that they make, or at least try to make.
Yeah, and they were willing to go out there and make that move. Again, this is a conversation we've been having for a couple weeks specifically about Jakobi. Right, because he did feel like one of the players that was going to be available.
He wanted out,
right?
And it was known
on the trade market. And a couple weeks ago, when we started having the conversation, I was like, I don't love it. Like was kind of how I felt about. But with what happened last week and what we're seeing from De'Ami Brown to this point, like all these things coming together, the trade makes sense to me. I would like the idea of maybe they do get something done with Jakobi, and that's the replacement for De'Ami Brown. You know, like going into next year for the football team. I do like that kind of side of it.
They're different type guys, but I think they have other guys that can fill what they're looking for out of De'Ami Brown.
Yeah, find something else that you want to do with that kind of thing. So, yeah, I like the move. Don't love it. I think it makes a lot of sense for where the football team is right now. It did feel necessary, right, in a lot of ways for them to be as competitive as they can be in the short term. I do think they needed to make this kind of move for a player like Jakobi Meyers. Like, they need somebody to play in the middle of the field. And they don't have Brenton Strange right now. Like, that'll take some of the pressure off of finding somebody to do that. But we don't know for sure. Coach is speaking right now. Maybe he's got something to say about when they're expecting Strange to be back. But he can come back next week. That doesn't mean he will be back next week, but can come back next week. They just have had nothing threatening the middle of the field. They have to find somebody. Jakobi fills that kind of gap for him. It means Parker's probably playing more outside this week, and I'm okay with that too.
Yeah, that's fine. And look, Rashid Shaheed to me is a more exciting player. He cost a little bit more than with a 4th and a 5th as opposed to a 4th and a 6th, but also that 4th from Seattle may be later, and so the actual value of the combination of picks might be about the same, but he is more of a field stretcher guy. Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No.
But, you know, they needed the nutty, gritty, get in the middle, you know, get down in the dirt and do the dirty work kind of guy that can catch it. Jakobi Meyers has had 2 drops since the start of the 2024 season and only has like 11 in his entire NFL career. That is one thing he's relied upon for is sure-handedness, and he's displayed that throughout his career. So let's hope that continues here. It'd be a great start if you got your first touchdown of the season against Derek Stingley Jr. and the Houston Texans. Wouldn't be upset with that at all. Let me get Cody up here in Missouri with a reaction to what went down at the trade deadline. Good morning, young man. How are you? Duval. See, just emphasize that first syllable, Cody, and everything's fine.
How are you guys doing this morning?
All right. What's up, man?
Man, I'm kind of in the middle about the trade deadline. I'm very happy that we got Jakobi Meyers, but I was really hoping we would possibly go out and get a safety or a pass rusher as well. You know, Jermaine Johnson was a guy who I really wanted, but I guess the price was too high for him. But I guess they're just waiting for guys to get healthy, and I think once Devin Lloyd gets healthy, and Trayvon Walker gets healthy as well, I think this team will be playing like probably their first few weeks of the season. I think this team could probably win the next 3 out of 4 games. It just depends. You don't know what the Chargers are going to do. You know, they lost Joe Alt. And then the Cardinals as well. They're playing better with Brissett. But, I mean, if we win 3 of the next 4, I mean, I think we could get flexed into Sunday Night Football against the Colts. What do you guys think?
All right. Appreciate it, man. I think that's certainly a possibility. You know, if that you get to that point and that you're talking about the 2 top teams in the AFC South and they're in pretty good shape at that point in time. I don't want to get too far ahead, Tony, but it's a winnable game this week.
Yeah.
And, yeah, the Chargers play with their food a little bit too, right? Like they didn't exactly blow away the Tennessee Titans this week. Omarion Hampton will not be back. They've already said he's not going to be back until at least after their bye. So it's going to be Kamani Vidal as their lead back, who's been, a mixed bag at best. Their top tackles are gone. They did trade for Trevor Penning yesterday, but he was drafted as a tackle. He's been a guard in the NFL. He'll add something to that offensive line. I mean, Herbert's having a fantastic season. On top of that, but you can beat that team. Will they? I don't know. The Arizona game, watching them on Monday Night Football, they look like a team that's going to be a tough out, right? That's not one that you can just circle and go, we're definitely going to get that. But then you got at Tennessee, and you have to win that game. So I think that makes this one this weekend so big, because those middle two of those four there, the Chargers here at home, on the road at Arizona, are going to be tough football games. But it's the National Football League. You should expect, you don't get too many layups right now. Again, the Titans are going to give you everything they have because they hate you. But you should be able to beat them. And the Jets just sold the farm on some of their best players. So that's one you absolutely cannot afford to lose. So, there's some definite should wins on this schedule. And it's what they do with the toss-ups, like this one at Houston this week, that are going to determine what the final record is.
Yeah, and taking a glance at, that first Colts matchup as far as the potential for that to get flexed to Sunday Night Football, it's December 7th is the day of that game. Currently scheduled for Sunday Night Football that week is Houston at Kansas City. Right, so Houston could be well out of it by the time we get to there. Kansas City is a team that they always want to keep in prime time when they can, that kind of thing. But you look at the other matchups that week, not a whole lot going on. If Cincinnati can play themselves back into it, Cincinnati-Buffalo might be interesting a little bit. Seattle-Atlanta might be the other one there. Chicago-Green Bay. But really, if Jacksonville and Indianapolis really are playing at the kind of level that they're playing at, like if Jacksonville can hold up their end of this bargain, and it does look like a matchup for somebody to take a lead in the South, there is at least the potential for that to get flexed.
Chicago-Green Bay is pretty attractive nationally, though. I mean, that's got the most heritage to rivalry in the history of the National Football League. But regardless, I'm not worried about it.
Kick.
You know what? Either way, it'll be a day that will live in infamy, hopefully, for the Indianapolis Colts on December 7th. All right, we'll come back with more of your reaction to the Jakobi Meyers acquisition. If you want to get in on the phone lines, you know the way to do it at 641-1010. Mike Dempsey, Tony Smith, and Dylan Denmark. Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. Saddle up for a stampede deep in the heart of Texas. It's a Lone Star State showdown as the Jags Claws get hooked on horns in a fierce divisional fight. Jaguars, Texans.
Deep in the heart of Texas.
Sunday at 1 on the home of the Jaguars. 1010XL.
Introducing the Jag Stack at Firehouse Subs. So bold, it's named after the home team. Stacked with honey ham, smoked turkey, roast beef, provolone, fresh veggies, and the new Duval drizzle sauce. For a limited time at your local Firehouse Subs, there's only one hottest sub in Duval.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on 1010XL. Awaken 180 weight loss.
It's time for the Plumbing 411 from Superior Plumbing and Pipelining. Clogged drains happen when grease, soap, hair, and debris build up over time. Even tree roots can invade your pipes. All this leads to the annoying water pooling in your sink or tub. Superior Plumbing and Pipelining has the tools and know-how to clear stubborn clogs and keep them from coming back. Don't ignore a slow drain. It could lead to bigger problems. Make the superior choice when your drains are clogged and learn more at superiorplumbingjacks.com.
This date in sports history is brought to you by Southeast Orthopedic Specialists.
On November 5th, 1994, 45-year-old George Foreman knocked out Michael Moore in the 10th round to become the oldest heavyweight champion in history.
Julington Creek Pest Control has been serving our community since 1984. Our turf management program is an all-out blitz, granular fertilization, weed and insect control, keeping your lawn championship green all year. Quarterly pest control stops bugs before they ever cross your goal line. Family owned, locally operated, expert technicians, top quality products, no gimmicks, just winning results. Julington Creek Pest Control, our family serving yours since 1984.
I'm Stacy, and I want to tell you about my fogged up window fiasco at my house. I called up Mac at Baker Glass, and he told me all I needed was a glass replacement. The process was so easy. All within a few days, they came out, measured, called me with an estimate, cut my glass, and came out to install the new ones. Now my view outside is fog-free thanks to Mac and his crew at Baker Glass. And my neighbors think I got some fancy new windows.
I'm Mac with Baker Glass. No one treats you better.
Committed to the mission. At Navy Mutual, we're committed to providing high-quality life insurance to members of the military and their families. Because at Navy Mutual, our highest commitment is to you. Visit NavyMutual.org.
This Veterans Day, Navy Mutual would like to salute Bobby Jones as our hero in sports. Jones is known as one of the greatest golfers in history and is perhaps best known for winning all 4 major tournaments in 1930.
The experts at AMCO have been fixing cars for almost 60 years. Over that time, they've gotten more complex than ever. That's why our techs undergo rigorous training and certifications, so they can fix anything, including the most complicated repairs that come with some of the latest technologies. After 60 years, there's nothing we haven't seen or fixed. It's how we know cars inside and out.
Money tight? We can finance almost anybody. Find the AMCO transmissions nearest you at AMCOJacksonville.com.
What defines a hero? Dedication, loyalty, courage. Every day at AMCO, we serve heroes. For over 60 years, we've repaired and maintained the most critical public service vehicles. From complex transmissions to simple brake jobs with flexible financing and the extra safety precautions we need. The heroes we serve don't all wear uniforms. They're people like you. At AMCO, we're proud to serve all of you. AA MCO.
Family owned and operated in Jacksonville, Orange Park, St. Augustine, and St. Mary's, Georgia.
Hey, Hickett here for Zero Res. It's Thanksgiving time, man. But listen, don't deal with the toughest gravy, cranberry sauce, or pumpkin pie disasters. Let the cleaning freaks do it. Get back to clean. 3 rooms of carpet clean starting at $149. A 4th room free with a canned food donation. Ideally, a full bag of cans, not just 1 or 2. Also, take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Call my friend Zero Res right now, 28757, or go online at ZeroResJacksonville.com and say you want the 1010 special. Zero Res, spelled backwards and forwards. It spells the same.
Hi, folks. It's Frank Frangie. Did you know that individuals over age 60 have great results on Awaken 180? See how you could drop weight and get off your medications in just 3 months with Awaken 180's Golden Program. Visit AwakenOne80WeightLoss.com.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Everything you need to know about the Jags. Jaguars Today on 1010XL.
All right, Young Denmark has been monitoring William Cohen. Anything of note coming across the desk of one William Cohen?
He said Jakobi Meyers is a professional. That's about all I got.
Told you.
Yep.
See, he gets paid to play football. He is a professional. But no,
true.
He is. He's. I mean, that's the book on him. He's a locker room pro. He's a vet. Good. He'll add that to the culture of the team. What's more important to me, Tony, is what he adds in terms of on-field productivity. And let's be fair about this. I mean, he can handle some of the key aspects of what the Jags have been missing with the shorthandedness, particularly in the area of the field where he's going to catch it. But he's been a guy who's been averaging about 50 yards a game, right? As ostensibly the number one wide receiver in that offense. Now, granted, Brock Bowers is the number one target in that offense, but you're talking about at the end of the year, if Jakobi Meyers plays every game, he's going to end up with about 800 yards receiving, and maybe that comes in fits and spurts, and maybe, look, it's going to be more about moments than it is about overall production. And look, if he has a couple of key catches on a game-winning drive against the Houston Texans, we're all going to love it. And I mean, it just almost had to be done at this point in time. But I am surprised at how overwhelmingly Jag fans love this move. And granted, I don't dislike it.
I like a lot of the reasons it needed to be made, and I'm good with it being made.
I'm much more in the best option, but just okay.
Me too.
Like, this is not like, wow, now the Jags are one of the most dangerous passing games, but nearly 60% of people saying great move, well done. Like, this is as good as you could have done out there. And again, when I say best option, just okay, I mean best among the available potential receivers. And when you factor in price as well, because could you have gotten a better player? Could you have gotten Romeo Doubs? I'm sure you could have met a price for the Green Bay Packers that would have made him a Jacksonville Jaguar, but was that the right move to make? Some people think you overpaid with a 4th and a 6th here. We'll see on that. If you make the postseason, even if Jakobi Meyers doesn't re-sign here, if he plays a key role in key moments in, key drives, to use that word again, throughout the course of the year and helps you win a game or two because of his contributions and you end up making the postseason, that is a great building block for the culture that they're trying to build here in Jacksonville. And I won't be upset with the investment that they made in that. And as somebody pointed out, maybe you get a compensatory pick if he walks. Well, it's such a complicated formula.
Yeah.
Because are you going to sign some guys next year that's going to offset the loss of Jakobi Meyers, and it depends on the size of his contract that he gets, and there's so many factors in, and that pick wouldn't come until 2027, and it would likely be a pretty late one, but maybe you do get a 6th-round compensatory back, so it ends up being a 4th, and you swap 6th in different years. Who knows?
Could be. But, yeah, I don't count on the compensatory formula for anything for a team that looks like they should remain relatively active in free agency. Maybe not be big spenders, but they're not going to spend nothing.
Baltimore goes out of their way to find those veterans on expiring contracts, so they will, and then they keep their powder dry during free agency, and they end up getting a lot of compensatory picks.
Yeah, I see the guys over at Spot Track, they put it out every year around the trade deadline, but they've done their annual tradition of putting out, they think that should be changed, that players that you trade for during season should not count towards your compensatory pick formula, which I've never thought about it, all that deeply, but it's part of me is like, that kind of makes sense to me.
Yeah, but you still have to give something to get them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they're not the only team that can do that.
No.
Other teams are allowed to try to follow that formula if they want.
But I do think we're seeing a lot of Jaguars fans. I'm not going to be among the group that thinks trading for Jakobi Meyers changes him from a good to a great player. I don't feel that way. I think he's a good player. Yeah. Right? And I think he fills a role that they desperately need somebody to fill with everything they have going on in the wide receiver room right now. So I'm good with them having made that move for that player at this point. We'll see what it looks like long-term for him.
Well, put it this way. Right now, 92% of the people responding to our poll today have a very positive feeling about it. Either it's a great move or an okay move. Either one doesn't move the needle, and wasted draft picks getting almost no traction in the poll today. And, you should be excited about it until proven otherwise, and hopefully you won't be proven otherwise. John Ogier joins us from Jaguars.com straight ahead. He's already here in studio, so we'll spend an hour talking with the senior writer. Coming up next, your calls welcome at 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios.
4th and goal at the 1. They set up in the eye.
When you add up the moments and break down the best,
It's a hostile environment.
you're left with a performance painting high-performance play of the game
Up in the air, it is caught!
on 1010XL.
Frank Frangie here. Nimnick Chevrolet is proud to be a 7-time Chevrolet Dealer of the Year recipient, the only dealership in Northeast Florida to ever win this prestigious award, earned by treating customers with courtesy, respect, and fairness. All part of Nimnick's Treating You Right guarantee. Visit NimnickChevy.com to learn more. For 3 generations, Nimnick has been the place customers keep coming back to. They treat you right. Where do you go? The answer is simple. Nobody but Nimnick. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
It's Awaken 180 Weight Loss Wednesday
on Jaguars Today.
Say goodbye to glasses and contacts with customized vision treatments at Bowden Eye & Associates. Hey, Hicken here. Dr. Bowden and his expert team bring you all the latest options like Evo implantable Caliber lenses, refractive lens exchange, or traditional LASIK. Tailored just for you. Imagine waking up to clear vision. No hassle, no fuss. You ready to see the difference? Call now or visit BowdenEye.com for a free screening. Bowden Eye & Associates, keeping the first coast focused.
Hayes Carline is our special agent. He goes into the locker room to uncover insights about your favorite football team. His mission is to bring it back to you on 1010XL. Special Ops support by Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors.
Running a small business is tough, so the Florida Small Business Development Center at UNF provides a free business checkup, a personalized analysis that helps you boost profits, your online presence, and increase your company's value. No cost, no strings attached. It's guidance from experts who understand what it takes to succeed in business. Whether you're just starting out or ready to expand, it's time to act. Complete a request for consultation consulting at unf.edu/SBDC.
Home of the Jaguars. WJXL AM Jacksonville Beach. WJXL FM Jacksonville Beach.
Life is about choices and the decisions you make. I'm David Robbins with Epstein & Robbins. If you're convicted of a DUI, you'll have to face severe consequences. Walking through the doors of the courthouse or appearing at a bond hearing can be extremely intimidating. Without the right lawyer, you're likely to make the wrong decision. Let our team help you make the right decisions in court. Epstein & Robbins, the right choice.
Epstein & Robbins, fighting for your rights since 1975.
Hey, it's Joe C. The chill is in the air and your backyard can still be the heart of the season. Gather your family around a beautiful outdoor fireplace from Isocurrent or Napoleon, expertly installed by CSS Fireplaces and Outdoor Living. From elegant stone fireplaces to wood burning or gas fire pits, CSS creates cozy spaces where memories are made and where every night can feel like a celebration. You dream it, they can build it. Visit their showroom or online at cssfireplaces.com.
CSS. We're certainly facing interesting economic times. For me, it's comforting to know my money's in good hands with ITP Partners. Jacksonville guys taking care of my Jacksonville money. Experience? Yeah, that's Chris Bryan, Jeff Hartman, Reagan Wright, Dan Abel, Scott Regner, Janice Cobb, and Reed Wingate. They have the expertise and knowledge to take care of your money. For more info, go to itppartners.com. ITP Partners, they're my financial partners for life.
Non-compensated client testimonial may not be representative of all client experiences. No guarantee of future performance or success.
Jacksonville's building a fence along the goal line. This is the Superior Fence and Rail Defensive Player of the Game. Superior Fence and Rail, where quality matters.
Boye Oluokun showed heart while in Sin City. The Jacksonville linebacker tallied 11 tackles on Sunday, with 5 being solo, and would also add in a tackle for loss. Number 23 flew like an eagle on defense, and he's your Superior Fence and Rail's defensive player of the game.
You waited forever for your new fence. Then, strangers show up. Subcontractors rushing the job. Sent by the company you trusted. Frustrating, right? Superior Fence and Rail promises better. Their professionally trained builders deliver quality you can trust. No subcontractors, no shortcuts. Just the superior craftsmanship your home deserves.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
This is your local sports update. I'm RJ Saunders for 1010XL. This update brought to you by YMCA of Florida's First Coast. ESPN NFL insider Adam Schefter recently provided a brief injury update on Jaguars wide receiver Brian Thomas Jr., reporting that he's dealing with a low-grade high ankle sprain. However, Thomas is still having a chance to play this week as the Jags turn their attention to the Houston Texans on Sunday. 74 degrees at 11:01 time and 10, brought to you by Bueller Air and Plumbing. Stay cooler with Bueller.
1010XL, presented by Farah & Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch. It's time for Oh No's with Jaguars.com's John Osher. Oh No's.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah. Served up by Twin Peaks. Eats, drinks, scenic views.
All right, good morning, Johnny O. How are you?
Good. Here we are.
I feel like there's a bit going on right now, Tony, that the rumor is John has his own headset that he purchased, and
I saw him bring him in last week.
That's what you tell me.
Yeah, I'm only going to bring it in
when I'm
when
not
you're not
here.
Yes,
that's what I'm saying. I think it's a bit. Anyway, good to have you on board. What is the general mood of the building? Not specifically Jakobi Meyers related, but the Jags got back in the winner's circle, 5-3, back in the playoff picture as of today. How are folks feeling?
I think the mood is, you got one. You feel like you were supposed to win. It was a puncher's game, if you will. Somebody was going to be standing at the end, and the Jaguars were standing. And I think they feel like, let's go get another one. I mean, it's pretty business as usual, but certainly 5-3. More of an energy of, okay, we had to go to work yesterday and get a guy we needed, and now let's see how that fits. And it's certainly a better feeling than had they lost.
Oh,
but not a sense of jubilation, just a sense of, okay, we got through.
Got one we had to get, but they got it. And I mean, look, people realize this. I think most people do. Every win is a good win in the NFL. There are a lot of teams out there that wish they could have traded places with the Jags this week. But I'd like, from your perspective, the good with the bad, everything together, how would you write the synopsis of how Trevor Lawrence performed against the Raiders?
Oh, I think considering his, the way he felt going in, which, you never know how somebody feels, but it's pretty obvious. I saw him briefly before the game and after, and I said to somebody, if you walked in looking like him, I'd go, Mike, go home. So I think playing through that was significant. And look, he led 6 drives,
in a row.
And I thought, especially in the second half, played, winning football. So I wasn't particularly surprised he didn't play well early because of how he must have felt. I kind of lost track of it in the second half, just sort of watching him. And when it's going that fast and they're running so well. But then once I looked back at it yesterday, rewatching, I was like, he played pretty well in the second half.
Yeah, I think, the interception to me is not I didn't feel great thing. That was a
bad decision.
That's a decision-making thing that he has had issues with in that area of the field multiple times. But that being said, I don't know if we've given enough credence to, and I understand they leaned on the run game heavily in the second half and in overtime particularly. But you look at the guys that Trevor's slinging the ball to down the stretch. Who was left standing? And Tim Jones is out there making a play in the passing game, and Austin Trammell, and it was not exactly the who's who of NFL pass catching crews.
Yeah, when Tim Jones caught the pass, I had a momentary brain fade, and I was like, "Who's 15?" I had to look down at my flip card. I was like, "Oh, that's right, it's Tim."
It was so funny. Liam said afterwards, "Tim Jones just got here." I'm like, "Liam, you just got here. Right? Tim Jones lives here. All right. He's been here for a long time."
Yeah, Tim Jones has an RV. I thought the fact that they, with a lot of changing stuff, with not knowing who was in the game, without Brenton, with Brian Thomas in and out, and then the fact that yes, they leaned on the run, but when they needed big plays, the pass to Parker at the end of the first half, the pass to Brian Thomas Jr. where Brian got hurt. Although there were some big-time moments that they needed, and what else are you supposed to do but deliver when needed? And he led the drives, and they scored 6 times in a row. He'd be getting blamed for something if they lost, so he should get credit.
Well, there'd be a lot of blame to go around if they lost. I mean, that's just the nature of the pass-fail league that it is.
No doubt.
You win, and it wipes away some sins, or it doesn't wipe them away, but you can look and go, okay, we need to play better next time. This won't be good enough against so-and-so. Well, you don't have to play the same way against your next opponent.
You win and you go on.
And an important factor in what's happening this season to me, John, that we haven't touched on yet this week, they were 3-10 in one-score games last year.
That's right.
They're 4-2 this year. Right, in one-score games. Like there is, and we talked about going through the offseason, if they could just flip that to being back to being around a 500 team and those kind of things, we'll see where they end up, right? Especially in the back half of a
exactly
schedule.
What that theory would have been.
No doubt. And that was a one-score game they couldn't lose. Like, you couldn't afford to lose the one to the Raiders, as we talked about last week, right? Like, it's just one of those where you're not a playoff team if you beat the Raiders, but you're definitely not a playoff team if you lose to them.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the way that kind of game feels. They found a way to get through that one, and they got another tough one this week against Houston. Like, it does feel like a game that could end 10-7.
But if you get Davis Mills, you have to win that football game.
Yeah.
You have to win that football game, man.
The Jaguars are plenty beat up themselves.
They are, but not a quarterback.
No, not a quarterback. And there are some games, as you said, I think the Jaguars are going to be beat up and trying to patch this back together for a few weeks now. It just kind of feels like that. So when you're doing that and you get probably the Chargers, I would say, okay, it's going to be a tough one. If you're as beat up going into a Chargers game, you would say, okay, it's going to be tough because of certain things they can do to exploit
Yeah, but you know what? They'll say, well, we don't have either of our starting offensive tackles.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so,
sure.
And we don't have our top 2 tailbacks.
But they'll have their quarterback.
True.
So, and to your point, now you're playing a team without their quarterback. You've got to get some gettables when you're trying to get through to getting back healthy. And this is one that on paper is a gettable.
Yeah, the Jets made that game easier, but they made the Colts games a little bit more difficult, probably with the Sauce Gardner deal yesterday.
Yeah.
It's just, part of life in the big city.
Odd deal, I thought, but
odd deal from whose perspective?
The Colts.
Yeah, I think they feel like look, Jonathan Taylor.
You're all in.
What's
right.
Jonathan Taylor's career shelf life?
Well, that's true.
2-3 more years. I mean, he's playing at a near MVP level. You're getting a great season out of Daniel Jones.
Mm-hmm.
Are you? You're probably picking late next year. It's not a good quarterback draft, even if you want to go that direction. So why not go all in a year where you look at the AFC? And you're like, all right, I mean, Buffalo's good. Denver's good, but they beat Denver. And granted, that they had the benefit of the leverage call in the last play. They missed a 60-yarder. And
I'm just all like, it's probably just personally how I look at, building a team. I hesitate to give up my first rounders going forward because all of a sudden in 28 and 29, you're going to look back at those picks you didn't have and find holes in your roster. But
maybe next year you'd go, you know what, we got to go spend that on a cornerback.
Oh, the league's going much more toward what they did. Don't get me wrong.
I mean, look, and again, I hope it falls flat on their face, though they collectively do. But, I certainly get it. Who are you going to get that's the equivalent of Sauce Gardner if you're picking in the back third of the round next year? And maybe you whiff entirely, right? I mean, plenty of guys are busts. So this way, at least you get a known commodity, and the contract is actually fairly reasonable for a player of his caliber. Now, has he been a player of that caliber? That's been a debate as well. We don't watch him week in, week out.
But there's more of that talk than there was about him a year and a half ago.
No question about it. All right, well, let's come back and get your thoughts on Jakobi Meyers and where he fits in, and maybe the other areas of the team that you could have seen the Jags making an addition that they didn't. Safety being, right. That was top of my list based on where things stand right now. But are there some internal reinforcements on the way? We'll get into it with John Oehser from Jaguars.com. You're certainly welcome to join the conversation at 641-1010 on the Checkmate Coatings phone lines, or at least cast your vote over on X at MD_1010XL. What is your reaction to the Jags trading for Jakobi Meyers? A, great move, well done. B, best option, but just okay. C, it doesn't move the needle for you. Or D, you think it's a waste of draft picks. This is Jaguars Today on 1010XL 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today from the Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors Studios of 1010XL. He's our big hitter.
I'm Jaguars Today's middle linebacker, Tom McManus.
He tackles Jags talk from a middle linebacker's point of view. Fridays on 1010XL. Protected by Renewal by Andersen Custom Windows and Doors. Proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Hey Jacksonville, it's Dr. Kevin Kaplan, team physician for the Jaguars and proud member of Jacksonville's newest orthopedic dream team. At Orthopedic Specialists of Jacksonville, we brought together 10 board-certified, fellowship-trained surgeons, each one a specialist in their field, all working together to deliver smarter, faster care with better results. From sports injuries to joint replacements, we've got the right player for every position. Visit osjax.com and meet your team. That's osjax.com.
Awaken 180 weight loss.
Jaguars Today, Wednesday.
Movember is Men's Health Awareness Month, so take charge of your health and vitality at Ackerman Urology in Mandarin, Middleburg, The Beaches, and Whirl Golf Village. For prostate and urological needs, trust Ackerman Urology. AckermanUrology.com.
Frank Frangie here for Coyle & Sons Fencing. Jacksonville is full of memorable sports moments. Remember the 2017 AFC Championship game? When Miles Jack wasn't down, you know what else isn't down? Fences installed by Coyle. Their fences have been standing tall here in Jacksonville for nearly a century. Since 1927, Coyle has been the fencing leader in Northeast Florida. If you're in the market for a new fence, I recommend calling Coyle & Sons today at 904-356-4821, CoyleJax.com. That's C-O-Y-L-E, Jax.com. Coyle Fencing, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
What does Johnny O know best? O knows Jacksonville football.
Okay, say, oh my.
Wednesdays from 10 to noon on Jaguars Today. Served by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
Plumbing problem? AC acting up? Septic tank trouble? Don't waste time calling 3 different companies. Just call Duck Duck Rooter. We offer plumbing, septic, and air conditioning services. Call 904-862-6769.
Daly's Dash is not only your Jaguars game day stop, but a great place to grab a meal any day of the week. To honor the Jags and the fans, we've crafted the Duval Sub. The Duval comes with freshly sliced turkey ham, melted cheddar and habanero jack cheese, topped with crisp lettuce, fresh tomatoes, and a double portion of our secret sauce, all served on a fresh roll. Come by your local's Dailies today to get your delicious Duval Sub. Dailies is the official convenience store sponsor of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Need protection? Call Craig and Christine Kaprosky at Goosehead Insurance. The Kaproskys are a husband-wife team committed to finding you the right coverage at the right price in just a few short minutes. For home, auto, flood, or specialty insurance, Craig and Christine Kaprosky are the answer. Craig.Kaprosky at Goosehead.com.
Now, the Performance Painting High Performance Play of the Game. Performance Painting. Prepare, protect, preserve.
This Jacksonville group went for broke while in Vegas, and the chips would fall in their favor. While in overtime, Trevor Lawrence would find the end zone for a 1-yard score, giving the squad a 30-23 lead in the extra period. The Lawrence score is your Performance Painting Play of the Game.
Hi folks, Jason Parker here with Performance Painting. Ever wonder what to do with leftover paint that you don't want? Here's a few options. Paint can be placed in the regular trash if it's dry. Simply stir in kitty litter to a thick consistency. Then wait a few days with the lid off till it dries. Also, if the paint is good, there's many charities or churches that would love to have it. If you'd like more tips or have a project, we'd love to help. Go to performance-painting.com. Performance Painting. Repair, protect, preserve.
Performance Painting.
Did you know that basketball and volleyball were invented at the YMCA? That's right, and even today, the Y continues to lead the way in youth sports programming, from toddlers just starting out to teens ready to compete. The Y offers skill development, recreational play, and competitive leagues, all in a fun, supportive environment. Get your child in the game to build character and skills at the Y. Registration is now open for youth volleyball and soccer at fcymca.org.
Hey, this is Lauren Brooks. I love Hello Smooth Med Spa, my go-to for skin health and beauty. Their biggest event of the year is November 19th, National Botox Day. Huge deals, local vendors, and it benefits Make-A-Wish. Don't miss it. Visit hellosmooth.com for more details.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Focused, fueled, fearless, Farah.
Oh noes.
Served up by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
All right, Davis Mills, you think you're going to beat the Jags for the third time in your career? Dream on.
Did he done it twice?
He has,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
He's won, I think, 4 games as a starter.
Time to end that.
Yeah, he loves, he's licking his chops. He's like, well, this is the one squad I can get. Can't happen if you got Davis Mills
Different
this
Jags
weekend.
teams, yep. Yeah.
Whatever. Is Owen Mills still a thing? Did they take your school photos back in the day? Owen Mills? Wasn't that like the photography
His great
chain
uncle.
or something like
I think
that?
it was his great uncle.
Might have been.
It was still going when I was in there. Yeah.
Right, and I don't even know where they're based. I think that's just like a national chain of studios. But anyway, your reaction, John, to how Jakobi Meyers fits in with this team. What is it?
Well, I think in the short term, like you've been talking about, it's a move of necessity because you need an NFL level receiver who you feel like you can go to until some guys get healthy. In the long term, he's a really good route runner, very reliable, the kind of guy that Trevor can trust in the route once he learns the offense. I don't know that trust will be there on Sunday, but he's a very reliable route runner, very precise, that I think will, once they can get Brenton Strange back, then you'll have 2 guys that he can really rely on in big moments to know exactly where they're going to be.
What is your guess? And I'm not suggesting you know any more than anybody else, but Brian Thomas Jr. miss at least a game?
Well, whenever I hear anything involving high ankle, I assume it's not going to be the next week. But again, that's not based on Brian Thomas Jr.'s own healing abilities. It's just kind of what you think. So I'd be surprised if he plays, but I've been surprised at guys playing.
Yeah,
in the last couple of years.
right.
So
You can't write it out.
I would lean
entirely.
toward not. But again, there's been so many cases where they have played when I've said that I wouldn't necessarily, change your fantasy league.
How quickly can Jakobi Meyers get up to speed? Like, it could be a case where De'Ami Brown's in the concussion protocol, Brian Thomas misses the week, and it's Parker Washington and Jakobi Myers.
Yeah, Parker Washington's your best receiver right now.
Absolutely.
And so I think it goes through him and ETN, the offense, and a
lot more sixth offensive lineman looks.
Just go with it.
Why not?
Yeah,
right?
I mean,
you want to run it on Houston anyway if you can.
Yeah. And again, I think there's an art as a coach to getting to the point of the game where that's going to work. I don't know that you can come out and just run big packages at him. Yeah, I mean, and everybody says, "Well, do that." That's hard until you wear the team down, but you've got to get them worn down at some point. So the goal is to get into a competitive game in the third quarter where what you've done early can reap those benefits. How quick can Jakobi get? I think it'll be the old thing you always hear coaches say. All right, we're going to have packages.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to make sure there's plays and routes that he runs. Find out what he likes in that. Go with that and hope that you can get out of 9 series. Hope that you can get him producing on 3 or 4 of them with the packages you put in for.
A couple of key third down conversions, Tony.
Yeah.
Something like that wouldn't hurt my feelings.
Yeah, he's a contested catch guy, and they don't have much of that on the roster, right? Like Parker, to some degree, is that kind of guy, but
amazingly enough, yeah.
Right. Like they just don't have a lot of that kind of thing. Do you have any feel for? I know Brenton Strange can come back next week. Do you expect him to be back on the field for him next week against the Chargers?
Only based on how he's walking around. He looks like he's walking around coming back. There is a ramp up period for guys once they sort of start practicing, and he hasn't practiced yet. So the fact that he hasn't practiced yet, or it doesn't look like he's there, I wouldn't expect it past the game after Los Angeles. I think there's a chance that he plays next week, but I don't have a great feel for how accelerated his ramp up has been so far. But I would think there's a chance.
All right, let's get a couple of calls in if you want to react to Jakobi Meyers being acquired by the Jacksonville Jaguars, or some other players not being acquired by the Jags, or at least specific positions, and we'll get to that coming up as well. But Darren going to lead us off next here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Darren.
Hey, good morning, guys. I've given this question a lot of thought, and I hope it comes out right in the way I phrase it. Trevor I don't think he's had the confidence this year in his receiving squad, and for good reason. I think that affects the way he throws the ball. In a year that it seemed like this, in a lot of people's eyes, was a make or break year for Trevor, I think that has greatly affected the outcome. All that being said, we're 5-3. Do we think that Travis Hunter, John, is that next? Is he the next Worthy? Is he the next Jackson Smith? Is he the next Cole? It seems like we can't get that guy. It seems like we can't get Justin Jefferson. We can't get Jamar Chase. Is Travis Hunter? We saw one good week of it. Do they think that that's where that's heading down the road? Because I think that's what Trevor really needs. And I'll hang up and listen, guys. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, it's hard to say. I mean, are you going to use him in a capacity where he can be the one? I kind of think he's a really dynamic complement to a one, ideally, in packages, but that's my opinion. I don't know that they know yet what year 2, year 3, year 4 will look like in terms of the question you're asking. My thought is ideally you would want a one, which you thought Brian Thomas Jr. was turning into last year, and he hasn't been this year. But I think the ideal for Travis Hunter would be to have a one, and then you can play him as needed, if that's the approach you take, or as a 2. I don't know the long-term for his career he's necessarily what you would call a Justin Jefferson type 1, because I think you're going to want him at corner as well.
Yeah, you're right. I think he's got to improve a lot with his footwork and his route running. But I think the athletic potential is there. For the ceiling is basically unlimited, but will he ever reach it fully on either side of the ball? I'm not sure.
Right.
It's okay. Maybe you get 80% of a one, as a number one corner and a number one receiver.
Right.
Which might be more valuable than just having that one guy who, tilts the gravity
Right.
of the way defenses approach you. I do think, though, that, I don't know who else is in the free agent pool next year at receiver. You're probably not going to get a one when you don't have a first-round pick next year. So if you have Brian Thomas coming back and Travis Hunter coming back and Parker Washington coming back and you let Diami go and you re-sign Jakobi Meyers potentially as kind of that dirty work guy, I think that's a decent receiving core when you factor in Brenton Strange work in the middle of the field as well. You can't have everything all at once. It'd be great if he turns into a Justin Jefferson. I don't think you have to have that to be a Super Bowl champion.
No, again, it feels like we've been saying it since the season started. So much of it depends on, can BTJ get close to what you thought he was going to be? Because if he is, then that lineup you just ran off. You're like, man, that's pretty good.
Right. I think this.
If he's not,
this move though enables him to focus more on the areas where he is good. He could be more of an outside the hash kind of receiver.
Yeah, and I thought the other day, it looked to me last couple of weeks like he has been better at focusing in with the ball coming in. Yeah, I don't know how to quantify that because I'm not a receivers coach, but a couple plays made the other day, I was like, okay, well, it steps toward the play he got hurt on. That was a really nice example of what he can give you that's dynamic and that you have to pay attention to as a coordinator, which is so important at that position. So I feel like there were steps made. And yes, if you have Brenton Strange and Jakobi across the middle, then maybe he doesn't have to do as much of what so far it's looked like he hasn't liked to do.
Yeah, let's just go find a way to win one ugly and then keep our fingers crossed, get Brenton Strange back. I think that changes this offense in a lot of ways.
It feels like coming out of 4-3 at the bye, if you could somehow, with some of these injuries, get the first two out of it and get to 6-3, boy, that would be an accomplishment and really set you up. Good.
Absolutely. All right, let's get Regina, our good friend, next here on Jaguars Today. Good morning, Regina.
Good morning. Thanks for taking my call. I'm disappointed a little bit. I was hoping they'd get a safety like you. And I want you guys to discuss, do defenses win games? Do offenses win? Do defenses lose games? Because that's the age-old question in the NFL. Who wins games for you? And especially in relationship to the Jaguars and especially how the NFL's going. And I'll listen to your discussion off air.
You know, wins games, the Jaguars win games.
The team that scores the most points. And in honesty, it can change in any given game. Did the defenses show up at all in the Chicago-Cincinnati game? No. So the last team with the ball kind of won that game, right? So the offense clearly won because you had to take advantage of it. But, I mean, you have to have a mix of both. You can't just be great on offense and stink on defense, or vice versa. I tend to think, though, that defense is key in big moments, but in today's NFL, I'd rather have the stars on the offensive side of the ball.
It's a weird question to ask. To answer, Regina. It's I think you've got to have offensive production over the course of 17 games to get to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. And I guess I'm thinking of the Chiefs formula. You got to have that offensive production, and then in big moments in the playoffs, like you alluded to, you got to have a defense that can get big stops.
Pressure
at
on the quarterback in a key moment.
Yeah. It's the Colts. It's those Colts teams you covered for years.
Yeah.
They're going to put you in a position. When our pass rushers are allowed to just be pass rushers, we know we got the game.
Right.
Right? And that's how it felt with the Colts forever. The Chiefs have been able to have that kind of thing for the last several years as well. They're going to score when they need to score, but when they need to hit the quarterback, they're going to hit the quarterback, right? And I think it is the balance of both of those things.
And again, it's such a hard question to answer because I don't know that just a great pass rushing team is going to be good enough over 21 games to get to the Super Bowl. But then you think about the Super Bowls in the last 5 or 6 years.
That's how the Giants won too.
That's how the Giants won too. With apologies to Brady, it's how Tampa won when they beat the Chiefs. they just relentless during those games. How many Super Bowls have you seen decided by that? But can they get there just building that way?
You can also talk about, though, that in that game with the Chiefs and the Bucs, Chiefs' offensive line was beat to hell,
Right.
and
It's
so
a league of attrition.
Their
Right.
offense was unable to perform as they typically do.
Right.
You know, it just goes back and forth. In the end, you know, look, Jags won. Did they win on their offense or their defense this week? They won on a defensive play, but they had to score 30 points
Right.
to get there. You know, it's just. Any given week, it can be something different,
Right.
you know, and hopefully you have the ability to win games in different ways.
A really good GM told me once what you want to do. You fight, you do everything you can to get to the playoffs, and then you hope you're healthy and you hope you get the right matchup.
And get a couple of bounces going your
Yeah.
way.
I
I
mean,
mean, it's all part of it, right? And so far, the Jags have not perfected the formula, but that's why they continue to strive. All right, more with John Oehser coming up. Regina, thanks as always. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. Hey, folks, Mike Dempsey here for Danny. The cooler weather, it's either arrived, depending on how you feel, or it's right around the corner, and there's nothing in the morning like a warm breakfast sandwich on that chilly morning to get your day started right. Dandy Foods, they can provide. Look, I talk all the time about their lunch options. You got to try their twin-pack cinnamon swirl and country sausage breakfast sandwiches, ready to go in under a minute. You get the sweet first and the salty kicks in, and trust me, they are addicting, and it's a pretty hearty portion weighing in at 7 ounces. You're going to find them at local daily stores all over town, so pop in and check them out, and you know what? Breakfast is good any time of day, so try that sandwich anytime you like. And you know Dandy's got the full line of lunch and dinner options as well, with a variety of sandwiches, subs, salads, you name it. For food on the go in Duval County, Dandy's the name to know. So do what I do when you're hungry, folks. Go out and make yours a Dandy, and do it today.
Jaguars Today for the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios. Florida Gators football.
All the way to the goal line.
The Gators crawl on the bluegrass.
Touchdown, Gators.
Florida, Kentucky, Saturday at 7:30 on Jacksonville's home of Florida Gators football. 1010 XL.
With 50 years of fabrication expertise in towing products, the family at Cannons of Jacksonville can repair or install precisely what you need to tow with confidence. Visit cannonsofjacks.com, where quality and customer satisfaction collide.
Are you ready to upgrade your windows or patio doors? It's the Black Friday sales event going on now at Renewal by Anderson. Buy now and pay nothing until 2027. That's no money down, no payments, and no interest for 2 years. This offer expires November 30th. Renewal by Anderson, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Visit bestwindowsflorida.com to schedule your free consultation.
License number CGC 1527613.
Lauren Brooks here for Terminix. When pests invade your home or business, you don't just need them out, you need them out fast. And you need to keep them out. At Terminix, they'll show up for you and eliminate pests quicker, just like they did at my house, because they care about what matters most to you. When pests show up, so does Terminix. Don't live with a pest problem, Terminix it. Visit Terminix.com today to schedule a free inspection online. That's TERMINIX.com. That's right, Terminix it.
How do you know that your roof is ready for the next big storm? You don't. That's why you need to call me. I'm Ronnie, the owner of Brandon Roofing. We'll assess your roof and fix those issues before they become storm disasters. Visit BrandonRoofing.com today to schedule your free roofing quote.
License number CCC 1328006.
Your home is your sanctuary, where memories are made. Jack's homeowners trust Superior Fence and Rail to make their home feel safe, secure, and complete. Imagine a classic wood fence for privacy, sturdy aluminum to protect your pets, or a modern vinyl design that boosts curb appeal. Every fence is built with precision and pride, standing strong in every season.
When you're on the fence, about a fence, SuperiorFenceandRail.com.
Jacksonville Hickens calling it. Checkmate Coating's my MVP. Tough, slick floors that dominate any space.
Checkmate Coatings, your floor's missing piece.
I'm with Greg from Cycles of Jacksonville, and when the weather starts to shift a little bit, especially during the fall, you've got some really cool stuff from Honda Off-Road.
We do. It's my favorite time of the year for me. Nice little chill in the air. We've got some side-by-sides. We've got the ATVs. Of course, they're legendary dirt bikes. We've got it all.
And for the hunter?
Oh, we've got side-by-sides that work and play.
All right, so make sure you check it out. Showroom wide open for you on Atlantic near Regency. If you want to go off-road and have some fun, check out Cycles of Jacksonville.
Hi, this is Dave Barker with IHRS. Are you frustrated with those trendy pills, drops, and lotions that claim to make your hair thicker and fuller? Are you taking weight loss drugs or medication that's making your hair fall out? Whether you're frustrated with results from treatments that just don't work, or you no longer have the fuller, thicker hair that you once had, there's a better way. Our hair restoration solutions have helped literally over 10,000 men and women restore their hair in as little as 2 office visits.
Ready to grow your hair back and have permanent, natural, and guaranteed results? For your confidential consultation, call 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Or go to hairforme.com. That's hairforme.com. This football season, make Hurricane Grill and Wings your game day getaway. Sip on handcrafted cocktails like the Millionaire Margarita or enjoy an ice-cold Bud Light. Game day drink specials are here all season. Find a location near you at hurricanewings.com.
Keeping kids active is a full-time job for parents, so let I-9 Sports help. They've got winter and spring registration open right now for kids all over the First Coast to enjoy their favorite sports. Log on to i9sports.com and don't miss out on the upcoming seasons. Enter 1010 in the promo code.
1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Still, present, ready. Farah doesn't flinch. Now, the cool down with Donovan Air Electric and Plumbing. Keeping Jack's cool since 1987.
All right, to Regina's question and point about offense versus defense, currently, right now, if you took the top 10 teams in terms of defense, top 10 teams in terms of offense, and I guess it depends on how you rank them, too. Maybe I'll just do it straight by points. Points per game, that's probably the most effective. But looking at overall total offense, total defense, which do you think has more in the playoff picture if you took the rankings right now?
Offense.
It's defense, and it's by one, right? It's basically.
I guess. I
exactly. There's no way, So, actually, 2 of the top 3 defensive teams, though, if the playoffs started today, would not be in. Houston has the number 1 defense. Kansas City is the number 3, and they would not be in the playoffs if it started today. Right. On the other side. Dallas and Chicago, along with Kansas City, are top 10 offenses, and so it would only be 7 out of 10. But I think that is probably, any given year, you look at that. Like, what are the Colts known for this year? Are they an offensive team or are they a defensive team?
I'd say offense.
Yeah, I would say too, but they're top 10 in defense as well. So, if you're in there in both, it's surprising because Kansas City is in the top 10 in both, and they're not currently in the playoff picture. But nevertheless. You can't be bereft on one side of the ball. You can't be Cincinnati and just hope to outscore everybody. Yeah. And right now, you can't be a Houston who is struggling to outscore anybody.
Yeah, and Dallas is the flip. They can outscore anybody, but they're not stopping you.
Right. They're like Cincinnati.
Right.
Yeah.
Like it's
Chicago.
There are teams that come along that way, and it's got to be really, really frustrating for the fans of those teams because it's like if we can get in, maybe there's something we can make it for a week. We can compete with anybody because they can score or they can stop you, but they're not going to do it for a month. It's just not going to happen. That's how the NFL works, especially playoff time. You got to have something you can rely on.
Here, you're right. Be great at something, but be competent at the other stuff. If you have hopes of going deep in the playoffs. Liam Cohen speaking this morning. Of course, was asked about new acquisition, Jakobi Meyers, and how he will fit in with the Jaguars. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, I think have followed his career pretty closely, being in the Northeast myself, the Patriots, watching those guys over the years, and then obviously moving into a couple different roles, former quarterback. Always appreciate that, really, in any skilled player. But the ability, tough, strong hands, has been physical. as a separator in ISO situations. I've only heard great things about the pro. Edgar's worked with him in the past as well. So, definitely excited to have him.
Yeah. He's a good piece.
Pro.
He's a pro. He's pro's pro, that kind of thing. So it's easier to assimilate that guy in. And even though, like, people say, well, wait a minute, he demanded the trade. He requested one. Mm-hmm. Certainly he did. But he also said, I'm going to show up and work every day. And if I get it, great. They know how I feel about it, but I'm still going to go about my business.
Yeah, and doesn't it feel like that in the last 5 or 6 years, that's become so much more the norm of guys I demand a trade. If you don't get it, you go back and work. You let it be known. And now with the trade deadline being such a much bigger deal than it used to be, I think you'll probably see that kind of thing more often.
So, John, they didn't address safety.
Nope.
How concerned are you about the safety position right now? It's pretty thin.
Quite. I think at this point in the season, especially in your first year of a build, before you've had a chance to draft to what you want to do, before you have a lot of young players, you're going to have some places where you go in and say, if we get injured here, we're going to, it's going to be a thing. And I think that's safety. I think you were fine. I think they would have, obviously everybody knows they would have liked for Ransaw to have been the guy by now, and he's hurt. Murray's the guy they went out and got and felt like he gave
played
them
pretty well.
Yeah, and so now you're without your guys that you really thought were going to be going by this point. And you have Wingard and Antonio who have struggled of late. So they got to be better. You hope this week with C.J. Stroud out that they're less capable of exploiting that than the last few teams have been.
You hearing anything on Jordan Lewis and potential length of his absence, if at all?
I don't think it's long term. Again, just going back to how you usually see it, when a guy gets hurt play one and doesn't return, it would seem like that's going to be something where he doesn't play the next week. But that's I'd be a little surprised if he plays. I think it's going to be Monteric and Greg Newsome, and let's go.
That's right. And you're like, well, it ain't going to be Hunter. It's not going to be Jordan Lewis.
Yeah. So, you're beat up in the secondary.
Big time. But this is a team that, again, especially with Davis Mills, that you still got to worry. Nico Collins still a good player. Davis Mills still a professional quarterback.
Yeah.
If they protect him,
You would like, ideally, I think with this secondary, you'd be surprised if they don't give up something, just because they're really beat up coming in. You would hope with a non-starting quarterback that you could get to him enough to make some plays and turn that into an advantage.
Maybe the cover's off the basket for Josh Hines Allen a little bit too.
Maybe.
He's been close all year long. He finally got the 1.5 this week, and it was late in the game when all that happened for him. So maybe
it's a pass rush forced turnover game when you're playing this kind of guy.
John McClain's certainly not looking forward to Ariante Ursary trying to block Josh Hines Allen. You missed the conversation we had with him in the first hour. He thinks that Josh Hines Allen is going to abuse the youngster.
John lives in an extreme world.
He does. But like John's past the point of giving two rats behinds about it. How anyone thinks about anything,
no,
and so he's just gonna rip away.
Yeah.
And is very critical of the way they built that team. Very critical of the offensive line in particular, and then you would expect Stroud's not going to play. I mean, look, it is, but look, Davis Mills, Nick Chubb, and I get it. Woody Marks is at times flashed a little bit. That's not exactly the most dynamic backfield you're going to find in the National Football League. No. And Nico Collins is a good player, but you got to worry about Christian Kirk, but he hasn't clicked because he's not been on the field consistently enough. And hasn't really. I mean, I'll say this. When you look at the lack of production from Christian Kirk and Evan Ingram's much more shocking to me. Mm-hmm. Like, they brought in a bunch of young receivers. I don't know. Christian Kirk's got I feel like, more of an injury liability at this stage of his career. But Evan Ingram is not even part of the game plan half the time in Denver. It's kind of
shut
nuts.
out last week.
I don't think it's the first time that it's happened.
Yeah, that
this year.
surprises me. Christian, who I like as much as any player I've covered in the last 10 years, I really like Christian Kirk. When you don't finish back-to-back seasons deep in your career, players usually don't get more durable as you move on. So I hope for his sake that changes, but that's usually the trend.
Not this week, though. All right, we'll come back with some final thoughts with the senior writer from Jaguars.com, John Oehser. Still time for you to get in, and we'll take a look at where the poll stands today on your reaction to the addition of Jakobi Meyers to the Jaguars receiver core. You're listening to Jaguars Today on 1010XL and 92.5 FM.
Jaguars Today.
From the Renewal by Anderson Custom Windows and Doors Studios at 1010XL.
Want a fresh and flavorful tailgate this season? Chicken Salad Chick has scratch-made Southern-style chicken salad perfect for lunch, parties, and your tailgate. Order 3 ways at one of 4 area locations. Call 1-833-MY-CHICK or online at chickcatering.com.
It's a Weight Loss Wednesday on Jaguars Today. Awaken 180 Weight Loss, your long-term solution for weight loss.
Hey, Hicken here. I couldn't be any happier than to join the George Moore Chevrolet family. When I say family, I mean it. Visit their beautiful showroom today off Atlantic Boulevard. Find out exactly what I'm talking about. No pressure, just friendly help. And whether you want a car, a truck, SUV, electric, pre-owned, you name it, George Moore Chevrolet has it. And if you can't make it over to Atlantic Boulevard, no problem. MooreChevy.com is easy to navigate as any site you will try. It's never been more easy to use. George Moore Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Bring your marketing to the next level with 3D Digital, your local video production and digital marketing agency that specializes in ensuring your brand story is seen, heard, and remembered. Our award-winning team creates professional content that will be launched across multiple platforms to precisely target your audience. Call us at 904-712-4004 or visit 3ddigital.com to define, design, and deliver exceptional results for your business.
Cool air and clean air. Getting out from under that Florida sun and cooling off inside is where Florida Home AC shines. Think about it. You spend a lot of time indoors, and air quality is crucial to your health and comfort. Pollutants like dust, pollen, germs, and allergens can build up, affecting your well-being. Florida Home is dedicated to enhancing your indoor experience with superior air quality solutions like whole home air purification systems. Find out by logging on to FloridaHomeAC.com or call 877-4300.
Universal Roof and Contracting presents the Offensive Player of the Game. Universal Roof and Contracting. The difference is universal.
Travis Etienne was masterful in Las Vegas. The teal and black back recorded 84 yards on 22 carries, with his longest run going for 20 yards. Number one was the one who carried the good guys, both figuratively and literally. And he's your Universal Roof and Contracting Offensive Player of the Game.
Homeowners, storms don't wait, so why should you? Protect your home and your wallet with Universal Roof and Contracting. Save up to 20% on roof replacements and repairs now through November 13th. Financing available with payments as low as $115. Call 855-ROOF-HELP for your free inspection. Universal Roof and Contracting. Protecting your home, building your trust.
License number CCC 057165, CBC 1258484.
UniversalRoof.com.
Hello, this is Father Nicholas Slow, and I want to talk to you today about having a grateful spirit. As we journey in life, it's so easy to take things for granted. But I want to encourage you to never get tired of thanking God for your blessings. Take time also to thank the people in your life who have and are helping you to become the person you are today. Don't go through life complaining, go through life praising.
To hear more inspirational messages by Reverend Dr. Nicholas Lowe, please visit our website at stjohnthedivine.com.
This is Hayes Carline for First Florida Credit Union. I bank with First Florida Credit Union because I trust them. I can always count on them when it comes to the vast services they provide. The online banking services are outstanding, so easy to use. Depositing checks through the mobile app is fast and efficient. First Florida Credit Union was voted Best Credit Union in the Best of Bold City Community Choice Awards for 3 years running, and it's easy to see why. You need to be banking with First Florida Credit Union. They're enriching people every day. Federally insured by NCUA, Equal Housing Opportunity Lender.
Kuhn Flowers announces their home holiday decorating team is now taking orders for the holiday season. This is RJ with 1010XL. No more hassling with tree buying, untangling, and hanging burned out lights. Call on Kuhn Flowers
They do it all. 1010XL, presented by Farah and Farah, exclusive injury law firm of the Jacksonville Jaguars. When it's game time, Farah doesn't flinch.
Oh noes.
Served up by Twin Peaks, home of the 29-degree draft on 1010XL.
All right, lest we forget, there are other teams in the National Football League other than the Jags and our farm system, the Las Vegas Raiders. Just kidding, sort of. Tony, why don't you take us around and take a look at them?
Now, gems around the NFL. Brought to you by Beach's Jewelry and Pawn in Jax Beach.
Well, we'll start with the league's farm system. The New York Jets, who have traded Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts for first-round picks in 26 and 27, along with wide receiver Adonai Mitchell. Dallas is trading a 2026 second-round pick and a 2027 first-round pick, along with defensive tackle Mazi Smith to the New York Jets for defensive tackle Quinnen Williams. The Los Angeles Chargers traded a 2027 sixth-round pick to the New Orleans Saints for offensive tackle Trevor Penning. Seattle is sending fourth and fifth round picks in 2026 to New Orleans for wide receiver Rashid Shaheed. Arizona has announced that Jacoby Brissett will be their starting quarterback. Washington has placed wide receiver Luke McCaffrey on injured reserve and signed Treylon Burks to their active roster off of their practice squad.
All right, thank you, Tony. John, where would you put your answer to today's Chad and Sandy real estate poll question in terms of the acquisition of Jakobi Meyers? A, great move, well done. B, best option, but just okay. C, doesn't move the needle. D, waste of draft picks.
Oh, certainly not the end. Probably somewhere between 1 and 2. I guess well done, because I think they had to do it. Is it great? I think it's a solid move at the trade deadline that made a lot of sense. You know, if I was a fan, I don't know that it would wow me, but I would feel like, okay, they saw something that they needed to get done and got it done. And I'd probably be a little disappointed that they didn't go get safety help, which I think they would have liked to have done, and it just didn't. It wasn't there to do.
The right opportunity didn't materialize.
Yeah, but it's a good move.
Yeah, I'm best option, but just okay. Like, again, the guy's averaging 50 yards a game. You're not adding a guy who's on his way to a Pro Bowl season right now.
But I think to your point that you said a couple times in the show, it's a situational move, meaning if out of the last 9 games, if he's got 7 or 8 third down conversions that keep chains moving on, you weren't going to get that without it, probably. So I don't necessarily know that the yards, a moment move, you called it. Like, it's going to be about the big moments.
Yeah, catch the balls that get to your hands, and that's the book on him, right? If that becomes an
Which
issue,
has been an issue this year.
Then it's going to be think piece after think piece about Trevor Lawrence. He throws it too hard, man. Which, just to me, is just utter silliness. I'm not saying he's never thrown the ball too hard. That out to Hunter Long, you want to get in his hands immediately, because that's where he's open. Get it on him. Hunter Long knows he should have caught that ball and walked into the end zone.
Right.
That wasn't Trevor he should have put a little loft. Well, then you're letting the defense close the gap on the guy.
Didn't Elway kind of throw it hard?
He did throw it hard on occasion.
Didn't Favre kind of throw it hard?
Well, look, plenty of guys threw it hard. But I understand.
Yeah.
Trevor doesn't always have the best touch.
No
but
doubt.
I don't think that you look at these
explain
metrics.
their drops.
The drop, the catchable pass rate is very high for Trevor Lawrence, according to people who track that kind of thing. Look, man,
he's got flaws. Throwing the ball too. Yeah, I'm with you.
Look, if you're waiting for Trevor Lawrence to be the perfect quarterback, you're probably going to be waiting forever. All right, but can you win with him? Yeah, I mean, they're winning right now. Like Tony said earlier, 3-10 in one-score games last year. They were 4-13 in all-score games last year, right? And now they're 5-3 in those games. So they've already surpassed all of last year's success in half a season. So they're doing something right, some things right. And look, circumstances have worked in their favor at times this year, and may again if C.J. Stroud doesn't play. By the way, Cammy Fairburn is hurt, and they signed Matthew Wright, the former Jaguar kicker. So, but that's your
Good,
guy.
because I hate Wright and Fairburn. I always have to look it up.
Wright, it's a weird spelling, but he's a big leg
he's really
kicker,
good. Yeah.
man. And we got our own. We're not worried about that aspect of it. But all right, we'll get a couple of final thoughts with you coming up, including whether or not you think we'll see the return of Devin Lloyd this week in a moment. But first, let's say hello to XL Primetime.
Now, the 2-minute drill is driven by nobody but Nimnicht. Nimnicht Chevrolet on Cassett Avenue and Nimnicht Buick GMC on Phillips Highway.
All right, Matt Hayes. Hello. Good morning. How are you?
I just want to know, has the YouTube TV dispute been settled yet?
No, I don't believe so. Sorry you can all not watch the Knicks and Timberwolves tonight. Woo! I'll be watching.
Makes me angry.
I never cut the cord.
I'm angry now.
I'm not. I don't have YouTube TV. Not
You
my
never
issue.
cut the cord?
Nope.
Good
Cable.
for you.
Cable subscriber. So,
I
don't know.
I spent $40 just so I could watch college football this past weekend.
Just for this weekend, right? Whatever, man. I mean, look, I'm not hoping they take
It's
it off
amazing
people's
they have
systems,
no,
but
like there's no recourse. Like
none.
You can't. You can't.
They
They're
sent
like,
an
okay,
email.
You want to bet?
So YouTube TV sent an email and said, "Oh, by the way, if it continues, they didn't give you a date. We're going to give you $20."
All right.
Ooh.
But I spent $90.
$20 for your next annual subscription
20's
of YouTube
Right, I spent
TV.
$90 to get the service.
20's not as much as 90.
Matt,
in any form.
Right.
quickly before we get you out of here and you get your show underway, just what range, how excited should Jaguar fans be about the acquisition of Jakobi Meyers?
He's a healthy wide receiver. That's kind of the way I'm looking at it.
Okay.
He's a healthy wide receiver who's been in the league. Yeah, why not? Give it a shot.
Okay.
To me, I look at him and he's not a guy that's going to take the top off the defense.
No.
So he's just a guy that, you know what, get separation, catch the ball.
You have guys that can take the top off if they're healthy, though. You
True.
have speed.
True.
Some guys are great speed on the outside, and that hopefully, if everybody can get healthy, Brian Thomas can focus more on, catching it outside the hashes, and Jakobi Meyers can operate inside the hashes.
I agree. Just get separation, catch the ball.
All right, what's coming up today?
We're going to talk Jags. We're going to talk some college football. The first college football poll came out yesterday, and there's some interesting tidbits, to say the least.
Was it on YouTube TV?
It wasn't. No.
How much did you pay to get this information?
Right.
All right, Matt, have a great show.
Thanks, John.
Appreciate it. John, as we get ready to wrap up, what about Devin Lloyd? Do you think he'll be back this week?
It sounded Monday like there's a chance, but it also, like all coaches say, well, we're going to be cautious. So they're going to be really cautious with the calf. So I would lean toward him playing, but it still feels very iffy.
They're getting beat up right now on that side of the ball.
Oh, yeah. No, they're a beat-up team right now.
I mean, the secondary's beat to hell. Trayvon's still not 100%.
If you can limp, grind, whatever you call it, through this game and get to 6-3, as beat up as they are, as you said, it would be a fortuitous matchup to not have a starting quarterback on the other side of the ball.
If we get to 6-3, Tony, we're going to want 7-3. Mm-hmm. But if I could get one of the next two, this is by far, obviously, the one you want. This and the two Colts games, biggest games you have remaining this season. So
if you win them all, you get in.
Stick that dagger. You don't even need to win them all, but if you win enough, you'll get in. John, where are we going to catch you this week?
Bucky Brooks and the Huddle Up podcast at 4, and I expect to have record-setting kicker on the Ozone podcast.
Not Brandon Aubrey.
Not Brandon Aubrey.
Nice. He's
Cam
a record
Little.
attempting
Cam Little's the guy
tire
I'm referring
of the
to.
kicker.
Yeah, I think we're going to have Cam on the Ozone podcast.
Nice.
I've never had him on there before, and I'm looking forward to it. He's an interesting kid.
All right, man. Have a great week. We'll talk to you on Sunday for game
Guys,
day.
thanks.
60% say great move, well done. 31% say best option, but just okay. But that's on the positive end of the spectrum. 91% in favor of the deal the Jags made yesterday. Let's hope it comes out that way on game day. All right, for Tony Smith, Dylan Denmark, we thank John Ozier and, of course, John McClain for joining us as well. D-Rock in tomorrow, and Dylan will be serving breakfast, so that will be fantastic. That'll do it for us. Stick around for XL Primetime next on 1010XL 92.5.